Hi everyone, it's Samantha Graff Benmore, also known as one of the Graff Girls. We are here to do another IG Live of one of our Real Talks. And as you know, the last 2 weeks ago, we had Don Chapnick from Don Chapnick Designs, and we talked about how the different elements of decor, interior design, can add personality and, quite frankly, as I say, change a house or a condo to a home. So last week we did styling with Kaylee from Delano Designs. So we're sort of on this style and fashion and personalizing and giving personality, character to yourself in business and at home. And of course, we also this week are going to introduce you to one of our preferred artists in Toronto, a local Toronto artist, Morgan Jones. I'm just waiting for him to join us. And this is one of his pieces right behind me, for that matter. That's how I found him. My husband and I were walking along Bloor Street, and he had a pop-up gallery with some other artists, and we fell in love with this. Mixed media is what there is referred to as. Unfortunately, Cheryl, or fortunately, I'm not sure, Cheryl's showing condos. So it's just going to be Morgan and I, and I'm just not sure where he is. But let me see. Nope. Hi, James, though. Maybe I should pull James on for a bit until Morgan is ready to join us. Hopefully he's not having a problem. But I do love Morgan's work, clearly. And he has a gallery now. It's still along Bloor. By the bay, sort of like, well, actually the bay, just so everyone knows, the bay is closing at Yonge and Bloor March 31. And by the way, happy March 1st. So 30 more days, and that's like big news. So I'm sure something's going up there. We have to find out a little bit more information on that. But that's pretty iconic, shall we say. Okay, I think I don't know how to message someone on here, but let me see if I can do such a thing, because I'm not sure where he is. Okay, I successfully sent this, so maybe that's a request. I'm not really sure how that works. I'm just wondering if he's looking for me under Samantha Graff as opposed to the Graff Girls, but I'm just gonna give him another minute or so to see. Oh, that just froze. Okay. I do not know where he is. Uh-oh. I'm wondering if I have to restart this, because I might have to message him. I'm not sure what's going on here. What's this button? Let me just see what's going on, because this is not typical of us. Oh, okay.
Hey,
Do I have you?
you got me.
All right.
How you doing?
Oh, nice hat.
Yeah. How you like
Nice
that?
hat.
My artist hat.
Nice. Welcome to the Graff Girls Real
Thanks.
Talk. I've already given a little bit. I've introduced you via my own art, how I met
Okay.
Morgan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mixed media art, as I mentioned. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got into the art world? Because you definitely didn't start in it necessarily.
No, so I'm self-taught. I was in sales for a very long time. I was the director of sales for a consumer electronics company, and art was something I always kind of did on the side. Like I'd pull my stuff out, I'd do a little bit of work, I'd push it back, and then I wouldn't visit it again for a number of weeks. And then I just sort of hit a wall at work and took a package and spent some time kind of lost figuring out what I was going to do, but doing art more and more as I had the time to do it. And then it kind of evolved. I mean, when I look back, when you tell the story, it seems neatly packaged, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a fairly long journey. This is some of my work here.
So, talk to us
And
about the ballerinas because we know that that's a focus
yeah,
of yours, which I love.
so so it started as
Clearly,
a yeah, well, it started as a series of people in masks like this one here, and the
right?
masks represent your social self, so who you pretend to be. And the balloons in the pieces represent your essential self, so who we're hardwired to be. And the two are supposed to work in tandem. And then I think often as adults, there's a disconnect. We tend to focus more on the mask, who, where we live, what we wear, who we hang out with, and less so on who we're truly meant to be. And this is kind of how I felt in the corporate world. The squiggles represent all the thoughts and stories we tell ourselves that kind of get in the way of us being or doing the things we really want to do. So again, it started with just people in masks. So this is a piece. This is one of my original pieces here, the boxers. And then it sort of evolved to more ballerinas. And I like the ballerinas because I like the juxtaposition. So I can place them in environments where they don't belong. Old abandoned houses, getting off a streetcar, which was sort of representative of how I felt in the corporate world. It was sort of where I felt like I just didn't belong. Yeah. So,
So, one of the
and then
connections, I was going to say, one of the
yeah, go ahead.
connections that, because we were talking about the idea of obviously lots of homes have art in them. And
Mhm.
when you walk into someone's home, you hope that they don't have the print that came with the photo frame or the frame,
Yeah.
usually with art on your walls, you are not doing such a thing. You actually chose it. I mean, I know you've been to our place and you've seen ours is very eclectic, like all sorts of
Mhm.
different things going on in here.
Mhm.
And that's because they spoke to us.
Mhm.
Just as you create it, there's different people who are attracted to it for different reasons, which then, like I say, makes a condo house a home.
Yeah. So it's okay. So where I am right now, just as a point of reference. So I'm at a gallery called Collective 131, which is a gallery run by myself and 7 other artists. Here's one of the artists, Amy.
Hi,
She,
Amy.
she's working on a piece, and you can see the work's very different,
Oh,
right?
wait, go back to that water one.
Oh, okay. So
What?
this is Todd Monk,
Oh, wow.
and he does pixelated. So if you get really close, it's all very
Yeah.
pixelated. When you get far away, so he's one of the artists.
Nice.
We've got Amy here who does these
Okay.
really bright pieces.
Oh, fun.
We've got Jeff and Jane who do photography,
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. Those are great
right?
too.
The really cool thing about this space is it was an old, it was an old clothing store. So we're right across from Holt's.
Nice.
So there's Holt's,
Excellent
and
location.
right,
Location,
and then
location, location.
yeah. So you come in here, and it was an old clothing store. So we were challenged with what were we going to do with the change rooms, and we made them into these little themed rooms. That's the pineapple room. So we've got very different art here.
By the way, Steve and I came in. You weren't there that day, but we actually
Okay,
came in, and it really is a phenomenal
it's
space. And the
cool,
way it's
right?
laid out is so
Yeah.
inviting. It's really much better than the other one, actually.
It's an inviting place. Okay, so back to answer your question. So, um, art's unfortunately, I think, one of those things that on a lot of people's list, it tends to take a back seat. So when you're moving into a new home, it's like, I need a TV, I need a couch, I need a bed, I'm going to
Right.
redo the hardwood, I'm going to do all these things. And then art tends to sometimes take a bit of a back seat, which is a shame because I think art can really elevate a space. I mean, you talked about getting prints from IKEA or wherever you might. And I don't mean this to come off the wrong way, but it would be like if you were starting out building a brand new wardrobe of clothes, you wouldn't go and buy everything from the Gap. I don't think
Right.
you would. I mean, you might,
No. You've met me.
but
No.
you no, you wouldn't. But you might go buy a few. But you would get some iconic pieces that really say something about your personality and who you are.
Yeah,
And you might go get a couple T-shirts from the Gap because they're cheap and cheerful. And when you put your really nice,
exactly.
yeah,
Basic.
when you put your nice jacket over, it doesn't really. So if you want to like fill in some spots with some sort of generic art, that's fine. But I think it's really important to have a few iconic pieces that really speak to your personality, your space, and who and what you are. The collective right now is in the middle of curating a collection for the Vintage Conservatory, which is like a private members wine bar.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I know it.
yeah, so the space is fine. It's a bit dark.
Yeah, very
And
dark.
it's dark, and I would almost describe it as nondescript, right? I mean, it might be a lovely space to go and have some wine with some members, but so we're doing all the artwork for it now. We're going to curate a collection, and we've sort of
Amazing.
well, we've mocked up what it's going to look like, and I know once we put the work in there, it's going to make like I'll take you guys, and it'll make such an impactful difference. It'll just elevate the entire space. You know what a half dozen or dozen or so pieces of art can do on the walls. So
Right.
yeah,
I mean, look, you know just as well as obviously Cheryl and I know, I mean, just changing a paint color in a room completely, making the walls having an accent wall. So now bring it to the next level. Also, that's an important thing, actually. And we talked about this with, I think, Don Chapnick from Don Chapnick Designs, who I'm introducing you to. But, you know, when you do an accent wall and then you have your painting, like some of your work would really pop, let's say,
yeah,
on a red wall, you
yeah,
know, or a dark charcoal gray wall, or it does
yeah.
need the white wall. It depends, right?
It depends. I had a client who bought a piece similar to this he had done his whole living room, and it was similar to this piece here, this winter scene.
Okay.
Um, but it was on a bridge and it had a snowy owl, and he had it on one side of his fireplace, and then he had asked me to do something for the other side. I wish I could show you guys a picture. So I came up with
Oh, I
another,
saw it
yeah,
online. Yeah,
right?
it looks phenomenal.
And the two chairs are sort of facing each other and the animals are
Yes.
playing off. So yeah, and it really kind of, if you look at the room, it's a very sort of contemporary
Yeah.
room. It's a lovely room. But those two pieces give it sort of they're classy, but they also give it a bit of a pop of color and whimsy. It gives it character, right? So if you
Exactly.
saw the post, yeah, it just totally gives the room a different
So,
vibe, an
so
interesting.
here's something that's, yeah, important. It's like, so we obviously in real estate, we stage a lot of houses. And
Yeah,
when you stage a house, you want to keep it like, I call it chocolate vanilla, like
right.
very, like simple. Because
Hmm.
you're trying to attract as many people as possible.
Yeah,
But the homes that are lived in, when you see a piece of, let's call a spade a spade, it's not home sense art, you
right.
know? Like, I mean, nothing wrong with home sense art. Some of it's phenomenal, but like, you know, and it serves a purpose for staging, that's for sure. But
Mhm.
when you see something really special on a wall, like you feel like you're in a home. And for
Yeah.
us, our buyers can connect with the property that much more. And I'm using the word home. First, I use the word property, then I say home, because then they
Right.
start visualizing. So when we're selling, it's important to attract as many people as possible, as I mentioned, but you know, and we don't like it to be too personalized, obviously, because then it speaks too much to a certain style and people can't envision very well. They're
Right.
not all artists, that's for sure. So they don't have the vision. Um,
Yeah.
but that being said, there's also the flip side of it where it can really, really warm up a home and give it character, personality, and make it feel a little bit different. You don't want to buy a cookie cutter house, and gives people
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit about, because I know you do commission work, and that's sort of giving it that personal feel. And the dog one, for example, and you've got
Yeah.
tons of stories for us, I know.
So I've done, I mean, most artists, if you ask, and sometimes people are a little nervous to ask, most artists will do commissioned work if you ask them. So I've done, for example, a version of this one here, but I've done it with a client's kids. So their 4-year-old and their 9-year-old daughter at the tea party. And they wanted, and in masks, and they wanted something that they could put above their
Wait,
couch in
these
their living
kinds of
room.
masks or these kind of masks?
These, just like these.
No, I'm
They had
just
a
joking.
one was a.
I'm just
Oh, okay,
joking.
yeah. So, and it's interesting because when you add the masks and you kind of create the piece, it's something that you could put up and it's now a piece of art. It's not like you've got this sort of matching sweaters, throwing leaves at each other, sort of typical kind of family portrait, right? So I've done that
Right.
kind of work. I've done work with people's kids. As I mentioned, I did a version of this for a client to match his other piece, but what I had to do is I had to flip the chair around because he wanted the chairs to face each other.
Right.
The sort of iconic 3 squares that I do had to go on the other side. The lines had to go on the side, and I had to be careful with the latitude and longitude numbers across the bottom. So I had to sort of customize that individual piece for him. So that they work in the same room. Well, it has to look
like it fits together. I mean, Cheryl and I know this from our business cards because we take separate pictures. We don't take them together, and then because one of us will not be happy with the other, and then we have to figure out how to put them together.
So what I can do. So I do that sort of commissioned work. I've done stuff where I basically, so here. The fox is an image I've taken separately and added in Photoshop.
Right.
But the chair in the woods is an image I've taken. So I've sometimes had people say, hey, do you think you could do my dog? So I've actually taken this chair out to their house, photographed the dog on the chair, and then I can basically recreate this with their dog if that's something they want.
I remember when I first met you, and I figured out which one. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the one that spoke to us for all our personal reasons that we had shared with you. But I remember when it was between two, and I was like, it's like a fox or something, and that just was, no, I don't know, some wilderness animal, which is so not me. Like, this is my kind of animal, this little face.
Yeah. One of our artists here, so this is Todd. He does a series of hands, and I think so he'll do hands, and you just see sort of the bottom of the hand holding another hand, and I just saw, I think he was doing it was a wedding gift for somebody, and it was the bride and groom's hands holding.
Oh, well, you know they must be young then, because you can tell someone's age by their hands, not by their face.
Oh yeah. Here's his hands. So he did. You can see that. So it's that, but he's done like a really.
Oh, that's fabulous.
So we can all. We'll always customize work to sort of go with a color palette in the room, dimensions, size. A lot of people sometimes, they'll be like, I love this piece. Could you add, for example, a hedgehog instead of the rabbit? And I can do those things. Could you make it more landscape. So this orientation here is what we call portrait,
Okay.
right? Because it sits upright, it's more vertical, and portrait
Right.
works in some spots. Landscape is more like this. So
Horizontal.
quite often, yeah, don't be afraid to ask. So somebody could say, I love this piece, could you do it more portrait? And I can do it. I
Right.
mean, I just lose, so there's a lot artists can do. Amy,
Can
you do
play with.
commissions?
No,
Amy will do commissions? Yeah.
that also
Sorry?
falls into this concept of mixed media, because if somebody paints something, they just paint it
Yeah.
on, let's say, like a 10 by 20. That's probably way too small, but I'm just throwing something out there, and somebody wants it 20 by 10, they have to redo the painting. But
Yeah.
with what you're doing, it's stretching it, and it's photography, and I don't know what you call it,
You
but
have to keep something called the aspect ratio the same, so the length relative to the width. But there's a lot we can do. I mean, what I tend to hear sometimes is that people are sometimes afraid to ask, or they think it's going to be slightly insulting to say, I love this piece, but could you change it? And we're generally okay with that, right? Like most artists that I know will be like, sure, tell me what you're looking for, and I'll work with you. It
and
presents
and all the artists in your guys' gallery are people who will do commissioned work,
We'll
correct?
all do commissioned work.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll all do commissioned work. And there's always, the nice thing about this space is we're open. The only day we're not open is Monday. There's always one of the artists here. So today it's Amy. So we split the shift. So there's always one of the artists that you can talk to. And
Actually, I want to make a comment about that. And thankfully, now things are going to open up again. And
yeah,
similarly with real estate, like, when I'm talking to people on the phone, it's one level. But when I get to actually physically be in someone's presence and chat with them and get to know, it's just a different feeling. And that was actually one of the other reasons why we connected even more so with this piece. Because if you didn't talk to us, explain your vision, and then made our brains think of how that works for us, and our life, and be like, hey, we're in line with each other, this is cool.
yeah.
So it really is it's nice that you are present to share your vision and listen to someone else's, and they can make up their own story. It's a story, right? That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And make it meaningful to them. But I do have to say that was a really extra touch for us, I remember.
I think it's nice to be able to talk. I mean, I enjoy talking to you guys. It's nice to talk to the artists. You can ask questions about, this is another artist, Kari, who uses encaustic, which is sort of many layers of wax. So it's nice.
Wow.
If you're not familiar with the process, you can ask about what they do. We've got Mark. He likes to photograph blurred out Barbies. He's actually, and then they're always doing. You get to talk to them about new work. For example, Mark's working on a version of this where he's doing one with a bunch of tattoos, which is a totally different look. So if you came if you came in and you said, hey, I really like this piece, you get to talk to the artist. He'd say, well, hey, if you like this, let me show you something else that I'm working on. So you get to sort of see behind the curtain what they're working on, what they have coming out, what else they might have that you might not be aware of. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's like exclusive listings.
Absolutely, right? Yeah.
It's not online, but we'll tell you, or we know that
we'll tell you about it. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good.
Okay, so share with everybody where you guys are located exactly. Like, is there an address you can share, or a website or something? Because I know you have an appointment, and so do I.
So our social media is collective_131_Toronto. That's our social media page. That's Instagram. We don't have a website. If you come we're at 50 Bloor Street. So all you really have to remember is Holt's is right here. You take the elevator down Holt's, and we are right across. So
And I'm gonna post the video, and if you could just make a comment on it and share the information so
I
it's
will.
sitting there
Yeah,
with
I'll
the
share the.
video, that would be awesome.
I'll
Yeah,
share the artist's name. So if you've seen any work here today, I'll share the artist's names and the address and hours on your video.
amazing. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Happy
Thanks so much. All right,
Tuesday.
Sam.
We'll
Good
see
to
you
see you. Okay.
soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.